What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on the Space Engineers Inspiration series. Starting things off today, we are looking at Eject, which is essentially, as the name implies, the description has the actual acronym. It's like an Earth... I don't remember. Anyways, it's basically a departure system from planetary Earth-like atmospheres. I don't know if it would work in any atmosphere, if the gravity was increased, like custom planets and stuff like that, or if it's just fitted for Earth. But it's designed as a launcher for if you wanted to leave the planet and have basic materials for a simple, basic base, essentially. Basically. Get it? Basically. Oh, okay. Anyways, I thought this was more of a, not necessarily design-wise as far as appearance and look, but I thought as far as a functionality, it was kind of a neat idea because this actually has a staging system. Really took me back to like Kerbal type stuff, which I haven't actually seen. A lot of Space Engineer stuff has been bigger, more outlandish, you know, just the ship can fly in and out of the atmosphere, or it has little fighters that can do it. I've never actually seen a more realistic take where there's actually staging involved and stuff. So I thought this would be a cool little one to note. There's a couple of screens here we need to take a peek at to go over some stuff. Since there's not a whole lot to look at for design-wise, it's a very small ship. There's no interior or anything like that. We're going to take most of the time on this build to just look it over, read the descriptions, actually test it out. Some of the things I don't normally do because I get lost in looking at interiors and exterior designs and stuff. Here it is. I couldn't remember what the J was for. I'm going to kind of leave it off to the side so we're not getting that stupid yellow block thing. Eject is the Earth Jettison and Evacuation Conversion Transport. So here's some of the guidelines. It uses only scavenger parts from the lander. Now, this is important to note. I could not bring the lander in for some reason. It's part of a blueprint, but for some reason it's only giving me the actual eject launcher, which you can see over here in the... Well, I hope you can see my cursor. You might not be able to. Right next to the Open in Workshop button, there's a blue lander. So, in theory, you're supposed to basically dismantle the parts in the lander, which got you on the planet. Hence the convert parts from the planetary lander type thing. Okay, so now that that's out of the way. It uses only the parts scavenged by the lander. Fill both large hydrogen tanks to 100%. Grind remaining items from the lander, like refinery, assembler, medbay, etc. Fill large cargo to about 80,000 kilograms, which is the max. Use toolbar 1 and number 1 to auto-eject or initiate the auto-eject sequence. Or use manual controls and get to space, which it outlines the manual steps in the description for on the workshop file. And then scout a location and get a medbay ASAP. So basically it's so that you can just pick up and move and you've got the bare minimum supplies to make a new base somewhere else on a different world, which is cool. Now what's this asterisk? Auto-eject launches rocket and controls throttle up until space is reached. There is actually a fairly detailed stage description in the workshop file itself, which is pretty cool, so I encourage everybody, if you're going to look up this blueprint, to actually read it, even if you're not going to use the manual. I don't think we're going to use the manual, just because I'll probably have a tendency to screw it up. But it does sound like it would work pretty well. You also have to remove these red corner blocks, apparently, which I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm assuming it's because this keeps the merge blocks in place while you're building. But once you're actually flying it, they won't separate if there's another block holding it to the grid. Okay, this screen is a readout of your component list. Now, it is also noted somewhere, not on this one, I think it's the panel above this, that the weight ratios and stuff will change depending on if you're using this on a server with like a more than 1x inventory or cargo space, stuff like that, but that's a list of all your minimum components that you'll have. Pre-launch checklist, ship must be fully built. Hydrogen tanks are at 100%, ship is cut free on the ground, landing gears are unlocked, red temp blocks are removed, which we just did. Large reactor has uranium, which it's creative, won't matter. Ship is loaded with needed mats, don't care. total weight is, yeah, there it is. Total weight is under 132,000 kilograms, but the weight limit may be higher depending on your inventory mode of the game or server. So that's important to note. So let's go ahead and give this a shot, shall we? I feel like an actual astronaut. So in theory, all we should have to do is hit 1, because the 1 is the timer block which does the auto launch. All of these controls, I believe, are more for manual, the manual launch sequence. So with that in mind, let's give this a go, shall we? So the rockets take off, they're atmospheric thrusters, but then at a certain height, I'm hoping it'll do it on its own. I don't know how in-depth the auto launch sequence is. But when you're slowing down and the atmosphere thrusters are essentially running out of air to power it, it's supposed to detach those merge blocks and engage hydrogen and stuff, much like a staging for an actual rocket, which I thought was really cool. Alright. And believe it or not, I don't think I've ever actually done a atmospheric departure yet. Because I really haven't done much with planets. I was still building my Corvette ship in my Let's Play series when the planet update hit, and the Inspiration series I focus more on building designs, not functionality, so I haven't really tested a whole lot of atmospheric controls and whatnot. So I don't know how it's actually supposed to work, other than just experience in like Kerbal and stuff with atmosphere and things. But so it looks like they're running out of, unless that's just a visual glitch, that they're running out of gas. Oh, that's reactors. Where's my speed? Okay, my speed's slowing down. Okay, there's the hydrogen kicked on. I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to, the rockets are supposed to separate. I know to do it manually we hit 8, but I don't know. I don't want to mess up the auto. Ah, screw it. So 8 launches your atmosphere thrusters. That's what I meant. It's kind of cool. It's like a real staging rocket, which is pretty awesome. I love that. Because I like some of the cool and sci-fi designs that we get in Space Engineers, but I do kind of miss the practical approach from like Kerbal, where you actually have to do staging and fuel and all that kind of crap. Now, what I don't know, we have planet gravity. There's a certain point, okay, the 2 top, or the 4 smaller ones around it have disengaged. There's a certain point where it starts tapering off and going to like less fuel consuming rockets or something like that, because eventually you're just going to be out in space, and so it doesn't really need to worry about it, because you want to conserve your fuel. But anyways, I just thought that was a really cool idea. It was one of the first ones I've actually seen that was more of a practical effect of actually having stages. Granted, they're fairly simplistic. There's mainly the one stage, whereas in Kerbal it takes you like, you know, and in real space travel and stuff, it takes you like, you know, 6 stages or something stupid to get out of the atmosphere. Though, I don't know about the, don't quote me on the practical, realistic NASA crap, because I'm probably wrong on that. I don't really investigate all that stuff too much. But in Kerbal is the closest thing to real NASA type game I've ever played, so I know in that one it takes a lot more work than one stage to get out of the atmosphere usually. But anyways, so yeah, and then at some point, you know, you could start actually just flying around and going to your new base area, and then you'd have your 2 supplies there in your cargo container that when you land, then you could disembark and have all of the stuff that you needed to make a new base, which is pretty awesome. So on that note, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so next up we had the G.S.O. Anubis C Mark 1, and I'm 90% sure I got that right this time. So some of you may recognize the similarities to a ship that I did a long time ago in one of the other episodes of this series, and that's because it's essentially part of the same series of builds. The Anubis series was done by a group of builders. I don't know their names. Anyways, link in the description. Check it out. It tells who built it. But they've built the Anubis series with 3 different models in mind: the E, the S, and now the C. The E was for exploration type purposes, so it wasn't really fitted with a lot of weapons. The S was done for stealth, so it was more fast and nimble and quick and quiet. This is the C model, which is obviously set up for weapons and combat, given the, missile racks on the side, missile turrets, chain gun turrets, just the general populace of guns, basically. Now, it is important to note this is the Mark 1. They do 2 marks for each of the builds, a Mark 1 and a Mark 2. The Mark 1 is made in vanilla, and then the Mark 2 is fitted with different mods to kind of appeal to both types of players, people that like the mods and people that don't. So, their current release is the Mark 1, which is this one, and it is a vanilla build. However, I'm looking forward to the Mark 2. As we all know, I prefer modded builds. I like the detail that it adds to them. So I'm definitely looking forward to, because this looks like a cool ship, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it modded. One thing you'll notice is it's a bit beefier. Like, it just looks bigger than the other ships, a little slower, harder hitting, etc. And again, that's just from the overall combat design of the ship. So with that in mind, the turning speed and maneuverability and all that stuff is going to be a lot, or I shouldn't say a lot, it's just going to be different from the other 2 if you're familiar with the other 2 builds, because they were both designed for different reasons. One was designed more for exploring, which you need to go further jumps and be maneuverable, but not super maneuverable. The stealth one is going to be the most nimble, and the combat one's probably going to be the least nimble, but it packs the most punch. Go figure. I hate it when my combat ships don't pack as much punch as my exploration ones. It's just a bad day for everybody. So anyways, I'm going to save the bridge area for last, I think. Mainly because then when we get up there, we can actually fly it and test the maneuverability. So here's our cryo chambers for the crew of the ship. Then we come down here. This is an ore summary, so I'm assuming this is all our storage and processing. What are these? Refinery, assembler, oxygen generators, and oxygen generators. Gotcha. And you've got these massive cargo containers here in the middle, which is where most of your stuff's probably going to be stored, as that is what cargo containers are generally for. So here we have one of the medical rooms. I'm guessing it's the same on the other side. Mayhaps? No, it is not. Okay. So this looks like a crew quarter area. Bunk room. Oh, hello. Hangar access. Vent hangar. Hangar... Gosh, they messed with the legibility of some of these letters now. Hangar docking lights and hangar doors. Okay. So you can turn the lights on and off. Maybe. Oh, it's the blinky lights. Okay. I thought it was the white ones. And then we've got the doors. Now, okay, so that is the depressurize for the hangar. And those are our two little drones. We're gonna vent and open the door. I don't think the vent works in creative though. I don't know what hangar access does. I'm gonna keep it set to whatever it's defaulted to. Lights for the crew quarters. Now, since these are a little different on both sides, I also want to investigate what is down this hallway. Okay, so this brings us in above the cargo cryo room. Oh, it's not different on this way. Okay, I went through the bottom, that's why. And that's another airlock, so we don't need to go out there. Okay. And that was the crew quarters we said, right? Yeah. So this should be hangar access. Which... So you've got 2 mining drones. These look like drones. Yeah, they must be drones. Drill drone systems with an antenna. And the remote block is behind the camera. Okay. I was going to say, these definitely look like drones. They're not big enough for a... Well, I guess they are big enough, but I didn't see an access point. Anyways, so you have 2 drillers, and one looks like repair or multi-purpose, since it's got a grinder and a welder, so it could probably do either or. So that's cool. What are these doing? Vent, hangar document. Actually, let's just close the doors, because I'm not actually going to fly those out right now. Or if at all. Probably won't. So we don't really need to leave that open. Alright, and on our right here... I think this area should be pressurized. It's because I had the hangar door open. Sometimes people leave their engineering or thrusters or things like that unpressurized. So I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be like that, or if that was just because I had the door open while the main door was opening. Okay. This is a little bit of a squished area, so I don't think you're actually really supposed to go around here. I was thinking you could walk in and around there, but I don't think you're actually supposed to do that. And then to go up, this is Engine Pod 3 access. Helmets and oxygen tanks required beyond this point. Okay, so this is what I was meaning. Like, there's a part of the ship that is just not kept pressurized. I've seen a few builds that did that, and it's kind of an interesting idea, because if you're not going to be using that area all that much, then you really don't need to waste the oxygen and stuff from the generators to pressurize everything. Okay, so that's a decoy block. It's interesting. Or is that... That's not artificial mass. No, that's a decoy block. Weird. I wonder what they're doing with a decoy block in here. So this is conveyor systems and stuff. Admittedly, I don't know what this block is right here. It looks like an uncompleted small atmospheric thruster. Oh, they are completed. Okay. So they're atmosphere thrusters. Okay, that's why this is done without pressure, is because these are just thruster areas. I see, and then it leads outside. Okay. That makes sense. So it does have atmospheric thrusters, so you should, in theory, I assume, be able to take it in and out of planets. Some of these bigger ships are just basically capital ships that they don't go anywhere in planetary atmospheres. They usually just stay out in space and leave that to fighters. I like the ones where you don't have to leave the ship and you can just take it into the atmosphere. I like those. I think they're more versatile. Okay, so now we have Engine Pod 3. Wait, did we just have Engine Pod 3 access? I'm gonna admit to being a little confused right now. Shouldn't this be a different engine pod then? Engine Pod 4. Ah! I found a typo! I think. Maybe. Okay, so we have more engines and thrusters. We actually have the jump drives here, which are cool. Again, I've seen builds with jump drives and things, but I honestly have not actually taken the time to use them for anything, because I have yet to actually do more actively play style in planets and stuffs. Okay, so, whoop, I want that on. So I think we've seen most of the accessible interior, so I guess it's time to head up to the cockpit and actually test this baby out. Okay, so yeah, pretty much everything's been explored. What? Oh, that's cool. I don't even know what this is. What is this thing? Bridge lights. Ooh, cool. Bridge lights, this is co-pilot seat weapon systems. All the weapons readouts. Damage report, GPS coordinates. Oh, what is this thing, though? Text panel velocity. I guess that's running a workshop script that I don't think that's part of the M-Master, just automatic configurable LCD panels like some of these are. Maybe it is. I don't know. What do we got here? Hangar access, kind of the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So this should be the main flight seat, I'm guessing. And we've got bridge LCDs, flight indicators, engine full power, thruster to ion, thruster hydro, thruster atmo, spotlight, landing gears, rocket launchers, engine fuselage power 1, 2, 3, and 4, connectors, camera port missile rack, projector port, so that restores your missiles, I'm guessing. Starboard missile rack connector. It is important to note the description mentions only fire, or I mean unlock the opposite missile rack from whatever you're trying to use. I don't fully understand all the implications, but it says if you don't do that, they'll end up getting confused and fly all over the place and bad things happen. Jump drives, fire missiles 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wow, there's actually a lot of commands here. Camera hanger. 3, I don't know what they are. Remote control for, what was that, recon drone? Okay. So, that's engine pods. So let's work with these real quick. So we're going to turn off our starboard one so we can fire our port missiles. The only problem I have is I don't know what 1, 2, and 3 are. Like, we only have fire missiles 1, 2, 3, and 4. It seems like there's 4 missiles on each side, so I'm not really sure what kind of missiles I'm firing here, but we're just gonna push a button. Yay, I was right. So, that's pretty awesome. I guess it's... oh, that's probably why you have to unlock them. It's whatever's connected. Okay, that makes more sense. Now... Projector 2 port. I don't know why there's missile rack reload. Oh, holographic sights. Oh! So if I turn this on, where do we get holographic sights from? Oh, there they are. Oh, that's cool. So then we fire. That's pretty sweet. Alright. So then turn these on, and then it's gonna reload them? I don't think I have any welders active over here. Interesting. Okay. So I don't know where the welder control is. Wait a minute, wasn't there? No. These are all fire. So I don't know where the reload is for the missiles, because there should be a set of welders or something to repair them. Or build them, or whatever. Anyways, and then there are standard missiles. Let me go ahead and lock this on the other side. And there are standard rocket launchers. Whoa! It's got a lot of them, too. Wow! It's got a lot of rocket launchers, so stay out of the front of this thing or it's going to chew you up. Okay. So then as far as thrust, we are at full power. It accelerates pretty good, and while it isn't the most nimble, it actually turns pretty good too. Alrighty, so I think that's going to wrap up this build, so let's move on to the last one. Okay, so here we have the USCSS Prometheus. Now, I'm pretty sure I've done videos on a build like this before, and I'm 90% sure this is the Prometheus that's based on the Aliens movie from Prometheus, so it's probably why it looks really similar as far as the landings gears and all that kind of stuff. But this is a really cool interpretation of it. It's massive, though. You can tell that I'm getting very, very low frames. Actually, the frames aren't too bad. It's actually the simulation speed that I'm having a huge issue with. But I wanted to show you guys how it looked landed on a planet, as it was intended to do that. But I do think I'm going to, you know, because I know we all just love the slow-mo montage that's going on here. But I do think I'm going to get rid of the planet and then see if my frame rate will hold up better. I think it'll be okay once the planet's gone, but I think that's just holding up a lot of the resources. But I did want to show at least one shot of it. Yeah, see, I'm flying away. I've let off the controls a while ago, and I'm still just flying away. I did just want to show one shot of it, though, with it on the planet, because I thought that was a really cool look. So let me see if I can fix this whole slow motion thing, and then we'll come back to it. And if I can't get it to do much better than then this might be kind of more of an honorable mention and go see for yourself, because I don't really want to put you guys through such a slow motion showcase or spotlight or whatever you want to call it. So let me see if I can fix the planet and get rid of it, and we'll see how it works then. Okay, so this did not improve it, to be honest, almost at all. Noticeably, nothing happened. But I did find a small workaround for the simulation speed. Now, the frame rate is still a little bit lower. I actually jumped into spectator mode, which I can speed up the speed of the camera and slow it down as needed, which allows me to actually kind of compensate for the simulation speed, which is kind of cool. So we're going to do a quick run through because I can't really interact with the controls and things in this manner. I don't think. Yeah. Your person still has to be in the area for that to work. So that's not going to cut it. So up here, normally this would retract up. This is your landing platform. So when you get in, you click a few buttons and it should move you up. And then you'll be back here in the hangar area, which is pretty cool. Again, I actually have, if this is actually the Prometheus, I think it is, based on the Aliens movie, I have not actually seen that movie. So I don't really know as far as the authenticity and stuff, how it's supposed to look. And I'm also getting lost inside the ship walls now. This is why spectator mode is not always a good thing for me. Okay, so this is where you would come up at, and you've got signs all over telling you where you're supposed to go and things, which is cool. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. There was an area in here as well, up towards the bridge. It's got these really cool map textures and stuff for the LCD panels. I thought was really neat. Added that extra layer. Here's your gym, complete with a basketball court. I think that's the gym anyway. It's got, like I said, it's got this cool little, like, where are you now map thing, like you see in the malls. Directories. Let's see, this is the main staircase area. Ooh, we don't auto flip. That's interesting. Like I said, I apologize for having to use spectator camera and all the weird quirks that comes with it, but it was either that or go through this at a crawl. So I wanted to show off a little bit more of the build before we called it for the episode. I do encourage you, though, if you have a rig that can handle it and stuff, to check it out yourself. As always, the links are in the description. And there is, in the description of this build, I use the world file, because if ever there's a world file available, I always use it, mainly just because I don't like messing with trying to load in the, I took a wrong turn somewhere. I don't like trying to load in the, all the different mods manually. I like to just basically be able to load in the world and do the stuffs. I think I went, no, maybe? Is there a door? Yeah, okay, this is where I came from. Alrighty. I think. Maybe. Nope, definitely not. I'm lost. Well, at least I can just fly through walls. Okay. But yeah, I do encourage you, if you can handle it there, to check it out yourself so that you can see all the different things that I'm no doubt missing because of time and performance constraints. But there is a blueprint for the mod, or for the build, that you can find in the description of this video. Well, no, you can find it in the description of the workshop file for this mod, this build. You know what I mean. This is actually a projector that shows off the environment, or at least some semblance of it. I don't know if it's dynamic or if it's just a static representation or not, but either way, it's really cool. However, it was drastically hurting my performance for frame rates and such, so I turned it off before I even started recording, and it still really wasn't good enough. So you got quite an expansive bridge here, very roomy and open, and one of the coolest things, I don't know if these change or not when you're in different landing modes, but I love the imagery. I'm pretty sure that's actually like probably from screens in the actual movie or something, I'm guessing. So I don't know if those change or if that's just the way that it is. It does have a cool landing mode, however, where these arms will actually rotate and turn into forward thrust type thrusters, for lack of a better term. And then when you're landing, they'll rotate down as they are now to give you vertical dampening thrust so that you can land softer. So overall, I can't really do the spotlight justice on it, given the performance problems that it's hurting my rig a lot. But as far as I've seen other people build, what I'm assuming now to be the ship from the movie, because I've seen different builders build the same design. So, I mean, Prometheus is kind of a general term. You could see a lot of ships and spaceships titled that in various different series. So I didn't know if that was just a dynamic or not. And people were just picking the same name, or if it was actually based on the movie. But given that I've seen multiple builders build it with the same kind of look, I'm pretty sure it's from the movie. So I've seen a lot of different ones of this, but this is probably one of the more detailed and big. It's a very big ship. Like the last one that I remember looking at, I don't recall being this large. So there's that. But anyways, I think that's going to do it for us for this episode. I'm going to wrap things up here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.